Hi, I'm Rai.
Hi, I'm Rice, apparently. Stereotype.
Today we're talking about dealing with Corona, the Corona pandemic, while being in an intercultural relationship, and the differences, cultural differences we've experienced dealing with Corona. So I'm natively Danish and we live in Denmark.
I'm native Chinese, also live in Denmark, work in Denmark.
So we don't usually experience big cultural differences in everyday life, I think. During this Corona pandemic, we definitely had some differences, and it even resulted in some conflicts. We had differences of opinion. Corona came to Denmark in around March this year. And how did you feel when it came to Denmark?
I didn't think that it would come to Denmark, also so quick. But of course, when it started in Denmark, I was a little bit worried, for sure. Because I also thought about that it can spread really fast. And I have some suspicion, or you could say feeling, that things will probably go out of control. Because seeing what happened in Italy, I'm not sure that in the rest of Europe it will do much better compared to what happened to Italy or Spain, for example.
So one thing I remember is that in Denmark we didn't have a lot of restrictions on what you can and cannot do at first. And definitely something like face masks. The Danish government's opinion was they don't do anything and there's no evidence that they are helpful, so you don't have to wear them. And that's definitely a point where we had some disagreement, where I remember you wanted us to wear a face mask when we went to the supermarket in crowded places.
Yeah, I think it's also. At first, I want to say that I actually wear face mask in the beginning when the pandemic or the just starting in Denmark. When the numbers going up higher, and I feel very strange because if I walk into the supermarket and wearing a mask and everybody look at me very strangely. I feel like I'm really like, what's wrong with you, and are you very sick? Or so it's just like, it's like if I think about in China, like when I talk to my parents, if you don't wear a mask on the street and the people will remind you should wear a mask, and here it's like if you wear a mask, you feel ashamed because everybody else is not doing so, and that's something I don't really understand. I mean, I'm only making myself more trouble, but why other people are looking at me in the strange way? I'm like a freak. Why are you doing that? So that's that. At least from my perspective, I'm more thinking about better to be safe than sorry, And I make myself a little bit inconvenient to do so, but I don't bother anywhere else. But I think in Denmark people think a little bit differently. I think it's my opinion, of course. I think people maybe more care about if this thing works or not, and they also care about if they gave them some inconvenience when wearing mask, like it's difficult to breathe, and but they also consider maybe healthcare workers, they also need a mask, so probably shouldn't use that. So
yeah, there was some shortage of supply issues also. I think also seeing family and friends, we also had some different opinions.
Quite different.
Yeah, I definitely felt like if I couldn't see my family for birthdays and whatever, when we usually see them, I felt like it was so unfair. And I also didn't really see any harm in it because it's Corona is just like a flu.
I don't know. I guess your opinion has changed now, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that in the beginning, it's of course it's a lot of information online, and we don't know what is true or not. And my approach is better safe than sorry, and their approach maybe is try to just live a normal life, and everything will go through fine. So we should just be as it is before. And I think along the way we also find a more
common ground.
Yeah, common ground. But I think that. In the beginning, we actually had some discussion about if we should see your families in Denmark, and also to do more precautions like washing hand, and also don't shake hands, and no hug. It's very common to hug here, and shake hands even within family, and all the time, and also yeah, also about if any of the family have a little bit of cold symptoms, then we should not visit each other. And I think that in that regard, I took some time to convince you about doing that, and I think we'll follow that in the beginning. Even though actually compared to the numbers now, in the beginning it was not so many people infected, but the mortality rate was high in the beginning. And I think the biggest thing is actually it was a little bit difficult to convince, sort of, at least from your emotion point of view, to convince your parents to do so when they come to visit us. What to do, what kind of behavior should be expected. And yeah, you can talk about what you think is your experience. Yeah.
Something I remember quite clearly, I think, is also that I was feeling it's a little bit. It feels wrong that you have to have these restrictions to your own family members. I mean, you are your family, and I also remember expressing, for example, if we had to cancel seeing them because someone had a slightly runny nose or something like that, then I was like, I'm never going to see my family. And then I remember you saying that it's not really fair for me to say so, as your family is in China and we don't get to see them at all. We haven't seen them at all last year, although we had plans to go to China and they also had plans to come to Denmark, but it's all been cancelled.
Yeah, I think that's also something maybe way more you put into the situation more used to. You're used to seeing your family here all the time, and I'm not used to that. So if you put that apart, just on the side, you just think about the frequency. How often I see my family. It's probably just once or twice a year, and this year it's not at all. So, but I think it's the thing is also what we experienced. It's also that how your family sees it as well. Also not only about our opinion. For example, I think your dad maybe not. At least he doesn't show very you could say clear opinion about it. He doesn't say so much about what he thinks about it. And I could also say he usually quite careful with hygiene and everything. I don't think he wants to get sick at all. But I think for your mom, because especially she has been working in the hospital, she's a nurse, so she has seen you could say many disease and sick people, and she have a little bit different opinion when the regard to come to this COVID, and I think that's if you look in the family, that's probably that she has one of the strongest opinion about this. But I don't know if it's. I think in China that would be really bad thing I'm doing now, putting your mother-in-law in spot. Yeah, but I don't think she's watching YouTube, so.
I think we have just this sort of just like the whole general attitude is different from Denmark to China. So in Denmark, the general attitude, and being raised here, I probably in large terms have the same thoughts, is that each person has their individual freedom, and there are people in Denmark, well, I have to say I don't agree with them, but they're like, no one can force me to wear a face mask or to wash my hands or whatever they're recommending, because I'm my own person and I'll do whatever I want to do. It's my own personal freedom. While I think in China it's much more, you have this collective thought. So if the government comes and say this is what we're doing, then everyone follows it, and if you don't follow it, then other people will sort of force you to do it. There's peer pressure to follow these rules. And yeah, I guess we also saw that it seems that China is over it, and in Denmark the numbers, and I think in all of Europe the numbers are rising again.
I think if I think about it, I think it's also a cultural aspect, also how the system works in general. I think in general, I think what I experienced, I live in Denmark for quite a few years. I think people more encourage you to have your individualism. You are unique and different from each other. Your opinion and voice should be shown and respected. Well, in China, of course, your opinion should be respected, but there is general, it's more, you could say, more preference, at least. Also, it's more like a tradition to follow that you have to be more fitting for the group, and especially you respect what the authority says for the, you could say, for the greater good, or how to put it. So that's also why you see that in Denmark, as I said, I've seen people that criticize the prime minister in Denmark about how the rules being implemented and everything. And seeing on the newspaper, someone interviewed him and said, "I'm not gonna follow the rules. I don't care what they say. They cannot limit my freedom. And I will do whatever I want. You know, I will shake my hands and get in close to other people." And just in the daylight, just say that, and then newspapers, everybody can read it. But in China, I think that this is really very kind of anti-group kind of message sending out, and I think many people will think this is a bad thing to do, and don't consider about other people. So there are some fundamental, you could say, different way people used to think in a way that in different country and the cultural background. And regarding to what it's Denmark's doing now and China doing now, I think China started the way. I know there are some criticism about what is how China is handled in the beginning. I don't know the details, as many you can search online what people say. But I think for China, the good side is that they did it very strictly, but then they sort of you could say close it pretty quick. You could say there's basically no active infection going on in China now, and that's what I know that people talk about the numbers. We cannot trust what's going on, but at least for what I feel when I talk to my parents in China, I could say their life is much more normal than we are right now, and so I believe there is definitely some truth in the numbers, and so they had maybe a short and intensive fight, you could say. So it's yeah, but in Denmark it's more
We're doing the long haul here.
Yeah, it's a little bit long and painful, but you have more freedom every day, you could say, when it comes to what you can do and going out and everything. But it is also a bit painful that it drags so long, and now it's the second or third wave. Second wave, I think. In US is third wave. In Europe is second wave now, and it definitely, you feel like it's affecting our life. You can feel it every day. So,
yeah, I mean, I thought it was very strange wearing a face mask to the supermarket in the beginning, but the newest rules in Denmark is that you have to wear a face mask when you take public transportation in the supermarket, basically anywhere that's indoor and publicly accessible. So yeah, I guess it's all catching up to us here.
So this is also maybe a preference. You say, okay, I want to have more freedom and flexibility, but then it will take longer to back to normal. Well, in China, that it was quite a harsh, that everything was closed down, but then they got under control, then they back to normal, more normal than we are right now. So, but we cannot really choose it. You can choose it by choose to live in which country, but yeah.
If you're in an intercultural relationship and your different cultural backgrounds has given a rise to any challenges during this corona pandemic, please comment below and let us know. And if you like this video, thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.